Murder Drones was one of the highest requested series on my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a supercut where I draw all of the characters that you guys requested for my channel. Let's get to it. We're starting off with Uzi Dorman first, and not because she's the main protagonist, but because she was probably the #1 request on the channel outside of Ed. One of the biggest things that a lot of people have been asking is why I chose certain colors, because many of the colors on the characters are just simply gray. But that's actually not true. When we look at Steel, there's actually a lot of reflective colors that are picked up from the background, and because it's a very neon-based environment, you're going to see a lot of these colors pop off as reflections and reflective highlights. And what exactly is a reflective highlight? It's a bright spot that bounces off of light and reflects back onto a smooth surface. So we get something like a bright neon yellow, or a really purple bright, or a really bright vivid red, and it bounces off from the neon and onto the steel, you're going to see a curvature of color that comes in. I might accentuate it for the artistic nature of the piece. Before we get on to the next character, if you could do me a favor, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I know I say this often, but it really does help me out. It really does let YouTube know that you really like the content. And if you love seeing your characters come to life in new and interesting ways, then this might be the channel for you. Now we're on to everyone's second favorite character, or in most people's opinion, their favorite character, N. Now once again, I know what a lot of people are going to say. They see a lot of greens and purples, and that's not representative in the character. But this goes back to another thing that I wanted to mention, and that is I use reference images. I don't really know all the lore of all of the characters, so I just pull up a really cool reference image to work off of, and then I adopt the coloration of the character that I see there. So if you see something that you might find a bit off or odd or whatever, just know that more often than not, I'm pulling off of a reference image. I'm not that skilled enough that I can know every character, what their exact coloration is, and work from there. Next up we have V, and I already came in with the sketch already done, and I wanted to show you a quick blurb of how I do my inking process for the characters. But if you want a full-length video of how I do all of the inking for my characters and how you can achieve the same effects, you can find that in the video's description. I decided to have a little bit of fun with V. I didn't actually use my alcohol markers like I normally did. I wanted to use some paint pens and give it a little textured effect, make it a little bit more artsy, a little bit more poppy in color and feel. It gives it like a little bit of a pop art feel. Might be a hit or a miss, I don't know, but you guys can always let me know in the comments. And next up we have Doll, and I went back to a more traditional look, but I really wanted to accentuate the line art in this one, and for that I really pulled out a lot more shadows than I normally do. I add a lot more blacks than I normally do, because I really wanted to push and pull this concept of light and dark in this particular piece. I don't always say what I'm thinking when I do a piece, I just allow it to kind of come through as I'm developing the piece. And for Tessa, and I know a lot of people are going to give me flack saying this isn't Tessa Elliott, but it is what it is. I'm not a big person of the lore. It was the image I pulled up. I wanted to use watercolors and give you a fun little experience in a different way, because I just didn't want every Murder Drones drawing to be the exact same rehash of what we've seen in the past. Next up we have Sin, and I wanted to do the exact same effect that I did with Tessa. I really love the gold in this. It gives it a certain quality, almost like a statue, and I really love that about this. It really pops and glitters and shines. When I was drawing Lizzie, I felt a certain comic book quality to her. Maybe it's because of the reference image, the pose that she had, the arms at the side like this heroic warrior of justice. I don't know if she is. Sorry if I don't really know the characters. I've only seen 2 episodes. It's a decent show, it's just not my cup of tea, but that's okay, it's not for everyone. So I went with almost a Marvel kind of feel. Those really dark, bold outlines, then really cool shading values. So let me know what you think, if this is kind of a hit or a miss, if I actually got the character correct or not. To me, Alice has one of the coolest designs of any character in the show. Based upon the reference images that I saw, she comes across as this kooky, mad scientist character, which I tried to accentuate that with the reference image, but also just really dark darks and really very little lights, and I hope that that plays out into maybe the craziness of the character. So I don't know if this is really a hit again, but the design is just awesome. It's just cool. What can I say? I really love how this came out, and I hope you do too. And here's the first problem of the video. When I was recording Nori, some of the footage unfortunately got corrupted, so this was the only bit that I actually had left of the drawing. I'm really sorry. I can't believe that, yeah, when I went to pull up the file that it was corrupted. I don't know what happened, so that was the little bit. So we can move on to Thad. And Thad was a really unique design, mainly because people love this pose that I put him in, but he was actually sitting down in the reference image, but it came across really cool, like, yo, what's up? So I don't know if that's the character, like he's a super chill guy, but it certainly comes across that way, and it's just something I really love, and I'm practically laughing talking about it. With Khan, I really don't have a lot to add that I already haven't talked about with a lot of the designs of the characters. I just kind of started top to bottom with this, just for entertainment's sake, do a highly detailed top to bottom design, instead of just working the piece overall. I will say, for beginner artists, if you want to get better at art, it's better to work the whole piece at once and not just little bits and sections at a time. Same can be said for Yiva. I would not recommend, once again, trying to work from top to bottom and get everything done in one spot. I know you see a lot of the YouTube artists, such as myself, or other artists, they like to accentuate every little hyper detail in one spot and work out. It just doesn't really work out that well in real life if you are not skilled enough to do it or haven't learned a lot of tips and tricks. It's better to work as a whole piece. It gives the whole piece cohesion, and you generally will see a mistake right away when you work the whole piece as opposed to just working section by section by section. Last up we have Rebecca, and I actually just recently dropped the short of this, so I'm just bringing it back for the last piece of this finale series of the Supercut. If you really enjoyed it, let me know who is your favorite character in the comments, and if you like this video, then YouTube thinks you'll love this video that's popping on your screen now.